The governor will be addressing constituents in about 3 hours. When that happens, Fox will be there. In the meantime, let's get the read on all this and the fast-changing developments with GOP pollster Lee Carter, Democratic strategist Rochelle Ritchie, and the Independent Women's Forum's former Congresswoman Nan Hayworth. Nan, what do you think?
Governor Northam is certainly putting himself in a very difficult position, to say the least. I mean, his own party is now against him. So and apparently he's trying to he's going to make the argument that that's not me in that picture. Well, why is it on your yearbook page? I mean, unfortunately, we live in an era in which forgiveness is in fairly small supply. There's a lot of rage. There's a lot of outrage. Understandably, we are still trying to resolve the original sin in our history. I think it's distinctly ungracious of him not to resign. I think it presents a real problem for Virginia
Democrats. Photo that goes back to the 80s. I just find it, Rochelle, far more offensive, this, abortion measure that was shot down that allows day of abortions at the very end. So that is something I thought would have gotten more people upset, Democrats included, but it's this yearbook photo that goes back to 84 that he's saying not him in some of these pictures. That's where the rage is in the Democratic Party.
Well, I don't think that we should compare this photo to the abortion policies that he talked about. I think there's a right.
But wait a minute, that's where you could see there's some controversy.
I think there's a right to be angry about the abortion measures, and I think there's a right to be angry about racist photos. Right now,
there wasn't a lot of anger on the left about the abortion stuff, which is fun. I'm just saying.
Right now,
the double standard seems a little glaring. No?
I'm sorry. I have a different, maybe because I'm African American, but I have a different feeling about seeing someone in a Ku Klux Klan or costume or whatever it was supposed to be, a robe, and someone in blackface. That does not mean that prevents me from also having anger about, abortion policies.
Understood.
I think that people can be angry about both. Northam needs to go. That's just the bottom line.
But how can you force that issue, right? How do you force the issue? Because you're saying we think you should be leaving office for something that was back in the 80s. But if he doesn't resign, how do you force the issue? Because would it meet, I don't know what the definition is in Virginia, to force an impeachment or something? This isn't an act in office, right?
No, this isn't an act in office. You can't really force him. I think that you can put a lot of pressure on him, and the party should well put a lot of pressure on him to get out at this point. Because if it is true that it was not him, why was that not his first reaction?
He should have said that.
That should have been right from the start. If it was him, then you've got an issue and a statement immediately apologizing. You cannot allow this much time in crisis to go without saying anything and get away with it. This is something that we can all agree, right, left, center. Right. For once, we can all agree that this is something that we should be outraged about and shouldn't be tolerated. And the issue, again, it's a picture in the 80s, but how you handle it today is how you're going to handle it.
And he backtracked.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Rochelle's right about it, because at first he apologized for it, and then he questioned whether he was even in it. So leaving that aside, all the presidential candidates that we know, most of them have blasted this. Yeah. Now, the latest entrant will be Tulsi Gabbard later today, all of 37 years old. She would be the 9th entry. Is that right, Pam? The 9th entry? I'm talking to my executive producer, who's keeping track of these things. But we had Tulsi Gabbard on with us not too long ago when these rumors were first circulating. She might want to run for president. Take a look. The potential consideration of a presidential run. You're, I think, around 37 years old. Do you think that's too young to run for president?
No.
Okay. There we go. Have a nice day. No, Congresswoman, seriously, thank you very, very much. See, I was planning her to explain the no, and she didn't explain the no. Nan, what do you think?
I think Congresswoman Gabbard doesn't stand a chance in this Democratic field.
Really?
She's already had to make, speaking of, again, the era in which we live, she's already had to make an apology, rightly, as a Democrat, and indeed for many of us who are not, for her past attitude toward certain aspects of LGBTQ rights.
Right.
That bodes very ill for any kind of success.
Do you agree with that, Michelle?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was her father that had the
Yes.
organization that was against gay marriage, and she worked for that
she
organization. But also the way in which she came out.
Well, there was a time when all the prominent
She
Democrats,
also came
including
out.
Barack Obama,
the
were
way that
against
she,
gay marriage, right?
The way that she announced her candidacy also, I think, just shows a debacle. Half her team is pretty much leaving. Her staff is resigning. So I don't see this. And she apparently has a lot of fighting right now going on in Hawaii right now within the Democratic
So you don't give her much
Party.
of a shot?
No, absolutely
Lee?
not.
I find her to be very forgettable. We've been talking about who are the memorable candidates and who are the forgettable. I think in a week after her announcement, we're going to be talking about a lot of other folks. I think Kamala Harris is one that we're going to be talking about a lot.
But in a divided field, anyone is game, right?
Anyone is in game, but when you have so many people, there's going to be a few that are going to rise to the top. I am concerned for the Democrats that they're going to face the same thing the Republicans did in 2016, which is they're going to have so many candidates, they're going to split the vote so many different ways that somebody who's on the far left is going to have an opportunity to rise up.
Someone emerges. Someone's going to be the nominee. Right?
And we don't know who it is yet.
I mean, each of them envisions him or herself as being the one.
Right.
Yes.
You know, the only thing I envision, ladies, is these snacks that Robin.
You've been talking about these snacks all morning. I know.
Darn well bet, and I'm watching you as you
They
leave.
smell so
all right?
good.
I know there's enough for the whole Democratic field right now.
Well, we're not sharing.
Yeah.
We're not sharing. All right, we'll have more.